Na festa do fim de semana, só rolê bom. Ela chega e desencana com passo bem sou, passo bem sou, passo bem sou. Na festa do fim de semana, vai me parar, vai me parar, vai me parar.
Hello, everyone. We are on the air. What a beautiful day this is. World Cup draw day for the biggest World Cup. Facts in history: 48 teams, 12 groups. We sat and enjoyed, waited with bated breath to see the results, and we will break all of that down with certainly a keen eye on the USA in Group D, but we'll get to all those details. My name is Max Bretos. Thanks for joining the Soccer O.G. We know on a day like this, you have many options to get your World Cup content. Appreciate you sharing it on this channel, and we've got a cracking show. Let's tell you what lies ahead over the next hour or so. The beauty of YouTube, we are on our own timetable. Christian Roldan, active member of the U.S. men's national team, will be joining us around 3 o'clock Eastern time, and you're going to want to hear what he has to say because there are two teams in that group for the U.S. in Group D. Very quickly, they have June the 12th, Paraguay in Los Angeles. June the 19th, they will be facing Australia in Seattle. June the 25th, a team TBD, which is going to drive us crazy because we're going to be saying Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, or Kosovo. In all likelihood, probably the Turks. If it is the Turks, then the United States would have played all three teams in their World Cup buildup here over the last 6 months. But we'll have Christian Roldan, Brad Guzan, who's at the Atlanta watch party. He will join us. Nate Bukaty, who's at the Kansas City watch party, will join us. Todd Grisham, an avid fan. Jaime Camille, who was in the ceremony, will be joining us as well a little bit ahead. I'm so excited because we could talk about this for hours, and I know you're certainly in the same boat as well. So let us get things started here. The Soccer OG World Cup draw. What was the group of death? What did you think? Leave your comments. We will get to answer them as much as possible. And again, we're going to have a cavalcade of great guests coming your way. Again, the USA in Group D. I'll give you my thoughts on the group. I think a lot of people are happy with the outcome. I proceed with caution because one thing I wanted to see was that the United States get a team in the group. Remember, 48 teams for 32 spots. You just want to get through whether you win the group and then you enter the world of the unknown. You want to make sure you get a win. And I do not think, let's say it's Turkey or Romania, that if you got that European team, Paraguay and Australia, you don't have, all due respect, that 3-point result. I'm going to name some countries here, so don't get upset at me. Say like Jordan. A team like that where you feel very confident that you will be able to get the result. A team like Qatar, all due respect. I don't want to step on any toes. I mean, some of these teams from CONCACAF you can't really get, but something like that. And by the way, there's not many teams like that. And right when we saw Australia, which is a team the U.S. beat in October, I started worrying. You have to get a European team. You just don't want to get the wrong one. They got it in Group D, and then they got a good Australia and a Paraguay team. Again, I think the U.S. should get through. The U.S. probably should win this group, although, again, you can get, if Turkey is the team, I think they will be favored. Let's bring in Christopher Sullivan, former U.S. men's national team player, my former broadcast partner. Mira el pelo, qué lindo. Can you hear me, Sully?
I can hear you. Great to be with you, my friend. And obviously, after the whole introduction with Gianni Infantino and many of the stars around the world, and I think Fox, it was great to see Thierry Henry there. I think he did a great job. But a lot of my friends are in, Roberto Baggio's there, Bobo Vieira, Marcel Desailly. It's great to see that it's finally happening. I think that the world is going to be moving and vibrating after this exceptional draw and very favorable for the U.S.
Well, let's start there about the U.S. team. Favorable. I was just saying to the audience, I like it, but Australia, last World Cup, they came in and they advanced. And I remember they pushed Argentina. Even though the U.S. beat the Australians, the Socceroos are going to be really well prepared and are going to fight and push. Paraguay, not the strongest South American team, but it's not a gimme. And then whoever comes out of UEFA. I was hoping they'd get a team that you say, okay, we can beat them and get the 3 points. So I like the group, but it's still pretty challenging in my estimation.
Yeah, and I think the games aren't played on paper, obviously. When you look at Australia, they're very similar, a mix una mezcla, the United States and Canada, because when you look at the years, the immigration, one of the things that makes Australia is such a sensational country over the years. You think about Harry Kewell and Mark Viduka, who played there. These were big signings to go to Serie A when they were signing players like Van Basten and Hullet and Rijkaard. So they have pedigree. They have the great former Yugoslavian mix that immigrated there, and also the Hungarians. So they have players that are exceptional that they've produced. It's just not as vast with the acceleration that we've seen in the United States or Canada as of late, but it's a very similar type of opponent where, you're a former rugby player and you're familiar with the mentality, and mentality is everything in a short tournament. So you cannot overlook a team, and that's a great insight and reference of the game against Australia, against Argentina, and also with even Saudi Arabia under Hervé Renard that it was able to win early on in the stages against Argentina. So anything could happen in a match. I do like Paraguay. You think back to 2010, we were covering that World Cup with Tato Martino, who's in Atlanta now. And then you had Guillermo Barros Esquiloto and Gustavo Alfaro now that has worked with Paraguay, but I think it's manageable. It's a good opponent for the U.S. And I think actually the toughest, Max, is going to be the team that comes through, because Turkey on their day can play fantastic football, as can Romania, which would be interesting because in 1994, USA played against Romania in LA. So we could see that, or even Kosovo or Slovakia. And Slovakia is, remember Hamsik, who played in Napoli. They produce good players. It's a former Czechoslovakia. So they're not players that you overlook. They have football in their blood. They have it in their DNA. So like Pochettino said, we still need to win, but the path is there where you can say it's manageable, in my opinion.
And I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but if it is the Turks who should have qualified directly, to me they
Right.
are the sleeping giant of world football. A population of 90 million. They have an incredible league. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of resources. But I don't want to put ahead because I've watched this Kosovo team and they are really plucky. They shouldn't be here, but they are, and that's a dangerous team. And that for the reasons you said, Slovakia and Romania. Although Romania, it's a long gone from that golden generation. That was like one of the best.
Correct. Correct.
'94. That was like, man, they could have won the World Cup. I mean, they felt
Yeah,
like
I
they could
mean,
have
you
won that.
had you had Haji, you had Dumitrescu, you had Pupescu, right? You had Lupescu, who I played against when he was at Leverkusen, and Johan Cruyff bought Haji in that window after 1994, and he bought Prosinecki. The players that were showcased in the World Cup in USA. Barcelona went out, which was the dream team at that time, basically, and purchased those kind of players. So they can produce those players, but I think Romania is a little off, like other countries that have fallen off, like Bulgaria we saw in the past. But the one to worry about is there Turkey, Slovakia, and then Kosovo. As you mentioned, you never know really what you're going to get. But I do like that matchup for the USA for sure.
And we get through here, right? We get through. He stole.
Yeah, I again, it's not the games are played on not on paper, but I think the key here what jumps out at me is momentum and the euphoria and spirit and the quality of the players that are playing around the U.S. now, as opposed to back in '94. Not to take anything away from the fantasistas like Tab Ramos, and you had Winall Van Harks and Roy Wagerly and Hugo Perez. You had so many great players that played football in a way that you had more space and more expression. But the players that we have now that are playing in Champions League, day to day is a little bit higher caliber as far as the consistency and continuity that you look for. So the performance under Pochettino that should know how to navigate this group in the right way. And I do believe that it'll be, understanding how to adjust against the opponent and how you want to play from a formation standpoint and putting your best players for that particular game. Australia will turn out to be a tough match because they're battle tested in these type of tournaments, and they tend to punch above their weight.
Yep.
That side of the world, they tend to really get up for this tournament.
Sully, I would have accepted a yes, and now I'm getting all worried after all that you said, but I still feel good about our chances. Hey, man, I love you. Appreciate you joining us on the program, my friend.
I love you too. I love you. You're doing a great job. Thanks so much.
That was unsolicited, by the way. Christopher Sullivan joining us. Let's keep it going as we go through. Todd Grisham works for DAZN, fighter, boxing announcer, Glory, but you
Yes,
love soccer. That's your first love, right, Todd?
indeed. Well, women's my first love, but soccer a close second.
Have you did you oh, 1 second. We're just having a little audio. We're still working on your audio. Talk for a
Oh,
little bit,
okay.
Todd. Okay, we will talk. Todd's going to look there, but look how handsome he is. But you can hear me all right. You got the thumbs up, correct? We're going to work on his audio. But again, we just had Christopher Sullivan on, and he was like talking about the USA group. I asked him, do you like him? He goes, yeah. And then he kind of went into some details about what's going on about with regards. All right, Todd,
Yeah,
let's
I
hear
still hear Christopher Sullivan.
Yeah, we hear Christopher.
Tell him his FaceTime is over, okay? He's done. Get him the hell out of here.
He's hanging on. He goes, I got one more thing to say.
Let's quick story about Christopher Sullivan. Played in the 1990 World Cup. One of our best friends. Sasha Klesha was red hot in MLS. We were eating in Washington D.C. and I said, Christopher Sullivan, you think Sasha Klesha was a better player than you? And he slammed the table and went crazy on us.
He said I'm 5 times the player.
5 times the player Sasha.
Right.
Hey, he may have been. God bless.
You watched?
Christopher
How much of the World Cup draw did you watch? And
I
don't
watched the
say
whole
nothing.
thing. I loved it. I thought Heidi did a great job. Whoever the lighting guy is, I don't know who she was hosting with. It was just a floating gold chain. I understand it might have been Kevin Hart. I never saw his face. Did you?
How dirty did they do Gretzky though when he came?
He'd never seen the word Herzegovina in his life. He thought that was an STD.
Well, I thought he handled that well, and then look, and he looked at those 4 countries like, oh, I didn't sign up for this, and then he went Curaçao instead of Curacao,
And by the
which
way,
I felt bad. And then they showed the German contingent, and they're looking, we don't know.
and Robbie Williams? I mean, come on. If that's the best they can do, as this guy, I can't name one song of Robbie Williams in his whole career.
Well, Robbie Williams is really interesting because he's huge in the UK, and they wanted him to be big in the US. For some reason, the US market didn't sign up. They had 2 big record deals, and it just didn't happen. So I think that in the perspective, he's such a global phenomenon, but it's not in the US, which is so weird because you figure we would have caught on. It just, the Americans just like, nope.
And the best we got apparently is Nicole Scherzinger. Whatever. I did like
Who would you have had?
Ponytail.
Who would you have as a music performance? I liked the Lauryn Hill. That was a good thing. But who would you have had as a music performance?
I mean, you know, me and you, we want to go. I'd go Motley Crue. I mean, let's blow this thing out. You know, America, rock and roll, baby, right? Metallica, maybe Guns N' Roses. I don't know.
Guns N' Roses, yeah. You got to find something for the younger crowd too, but I don't know what that is. So, what do you think about the U.S. draw? What do you think about the U.S. draw?
When first I saw Curacao, I was like, this is the most boring group in the history of U.S. soccer. I mean, it was going to be pathetic. I'm glad that we're the favorites. We should advance just based on the limited things that I've seen. But, you know, I like a little bit of a challenge. Every year we seem to have at least one pretty big European powerhouse and then like a Ghana or someone else. This time, you know, I mean, Paraguay's pretty decent, as you know, but Australia's, you know, they're kind of the same style as us, aggressive. Yep. They're going to fight for every 50-50 ball. I think that's going to be a draw, but hopefully we win our other 2. And can we
God, you guys are making me worried.
We're not calling it Turkey anymore. It's Turkey.
Turkey. Well, I have an issue. If the Turkish country wants that, I'm great. But I think we should change it for all of it. We shouldn't call Germany, Germany. We should call it Deutschland. It's not that hard. We should call it Spain, España. I don't know who came up with these rules about how you call the countries, but it's not that. Norway is Norge. It's not that hard. We can do it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, Turkey's Turkey to me. I just flew through Turkey the other day, and I felt like, am I allowed to call them Turkish there? Are they going to get mad at me?
Well, I talked to Turks about that, and they're kind of split down the middle. They're like, they just want, however it's, they usually say, whatever's easy for you. And I go, well, I don't want to step on any toes. Now, how much is it going to drive you crazy when you have to explain the group and people, and an American goes, who do we have? We'll go Paraguay, Australia, and then Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, or Kosovo.
Do you remember when the Romanians
that's going to lose some fans.
Remember when the Romanians dyed their hair blonde? Was that the 94
94.
World Cup? Oh, and it was like
or 90. No, that was like a Euros, and then it backfired on them.
Yeah, it was like a broadcaster's nightmare. You're like, come on, help me. Hopefully they don't do that again. But I was at World Cup 94. I went to World Cup 98, 2006. I used to be a fanatic. Now I'm kind of dialed into the boxing and kickboxing scene, so I really don't get to watch as much as I can because I'm traveling internationally. But I'm hoping this U.S. team can kind of come together and circle the ranks. I feel like they've got a chip on their shoulder, at least the European-based players. So hopefully they can use that to their advantage.
Very good. What do you think about 48-team World Cup? I mean, because it was doing it. It looks okay. The groups are pretty competitive.
Well, now it's like, is there a group of death? No, there's
Not
not really.
really.
A group of hard times, as Dusty Rhodes would say. Some hard time groups. There's not a group of death.
I love it. We don't have a group of death, but some hard times there.
Yeah, some hard times. But I mean, I think all the favorites are. You're not going to have a Brazil or a England or anybody else like that going to finish fourth in the group. It's just not going to happen. So I like it smaller. Same thing with the NCAA tournament. They're talking about expanding it to 128 teams or whatever, 84. Like, I liked it better, even without the play-in games. I like the 64 teams, and let's go. To me, it's got to be, you got to qualify for it. Make it as big as it's supposed to be. It's the World Cup. If we're letting everybody in, I mean, it just loses a little bit of its specialness, if you ask me.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. It's going to go to 64 teams, which I welcome because I don't like the third place team business.
Yeah,
have 64 teams, first and second. If you have to expand it, I think that'll be cleaner because this is kind of weird. You can't predict. You can't go Group D's winner's going to play here. It gets a little murky, and I don't like murky.
Why not let them all in? Let's have the Pope playing for Vatican City. You know what I mean? Let's just let them all in.
I was a Vatican City international at one day. I was eligible, so as a practicing Catholic, but that ship has sailed. Hey, Todd, great chatting with you, and appreciate you joining the show and bringing some levity to all of this because it requires it.
I'm glad I could impart all my soccer knowledge with you, Max. I didn't mean to embarrass you with my knowledge compared to yours, but I digress.
Todd Grisham, DAZN, catch up. If there's a big fight, Todd Grisham is calling it. Go catch up with Sully, and we'll talk very soon, my friend.
We'll see you.
What a fun show we have. What a fun show. We continue our look here with all the groups. Bear with us. We're going to have a few little glitches from time to time. We're in diapers as a show, so we're getting through. We got a lot of great guests. A reminder at the top of the hour, Christian Roldan. We'll talk to him about the USA group. Again, there is no group of death, but as Todd Grisham just showed, there is a group of hard times. And for me, I like Group C. You have Brazil, Morocco, Scotland could be crafty, and Haiti's in there. And I'm just excited to see Haiti take the field. Can you imagine these guys playing and the public back in Haiti as they watch what's going on here with a game against Brazil? See, Haiti might lose that, but I would love to see it. And by the way, I think they're at the beginning of something very special. They have a lot of players who play in France. If they can change the way things are in that country, this is what the World Cup does. If this soccer team helps open the door and bring an investment to Haiti, it could be amazing. And I think we might see some of it. A lot of it, I don't know. Let's continue to bring in folks. Nate Bukaty was at the watch party in Kansas City, which is one of the host cities of this World Cup. He is going to join us now. So Nate Bukaty, he's going to join us momentarily. I believe he's in commute. So Kansas City is really holding things down for the Midwest because there is no Chicago and not really of other cities there, but they do have this going on there. So Kansas City have a big responsibility, and we will see what they're able to do. But, we have the Canadian cities. You have Guadalajara and Monterrey and Mexico City. The World Cup opener will be Mexico and, was it Korea? Is that the opening game, or is it South Africa? Pardon me. Yeah, so that is the opening game in Estadio Azteca. Get excited. This World Cup draw, we had to get it under our belt, and now we're moving forward. So a lot of cool stuff. But you can talk about it. To me, Brazil-Morocco is the best game of the group stages. Spain-Uruguay, a bit of a drop-off, I would say, after that. And then Portugal-Colombia, that should be crafty. I think Colombia could be close to being a contender, but you want a favorable group. There's no doubt about it. But you want that group to set you on the right path. And that is the unknown here in a 48-team World Cup. So we saw that at the Under-17 World Cup, and it was a mess. And, Austria made the final against Portugal. I don't think anyone had predicted that. So it could have some unpredictability. Any team that's been successful, I don't care what people say about, I want to be tested. You want to see a team that you can beat every step along the way. And we have seen teams benefit that. I talk to my Dutch friends because they always seem to do that. Do we have Nate ready to go? We're going to get Nate Bukaty here. He's a good dude as well. And I told him he's the sexiest person that's going to appear on this show today. This is the Soccer O.G. Thanks for joining us. We know you have a lot of great options with regards to your World Cup content. We feel like we can provide a wonderful service. Christian Roldan coming up. Brad Guzan will be joining us. Jaime Camille, who was in the ceremony, a star of stage and screen, will be joining us. Mauricio Pedrosa as well, as we will move forward here, breaking down this World Cup, the 2024, the biggest World Cup of all, the 2026 World Cup, the biggest World Cup in history. We will see what it looks like when it all comes in. Nate Bukaty. All right, enough of my tap dancing. Got Nate. Nate, is your audio okay?
I hope so. I'm tap dancing with you, man. Can you hear me okay, Max?
Hey, Jeff, we hear him all right? All right, yeah, I got you, man. How's it going? How was the Kansas City watch party? Can you sense the enthusiasm? I know with the World Cup right now, the draw is like the beginning where the casual fans really get into it. Do we sense that people are like, all right, I'm locked in?
Yeah, it was a packed house. You know, we've become a famous place in U.S. soccer, Max, because of the watch parties we've had. In the neighborhood they call the Power and Light District, it's an area that holds about 8,000 fans. You've seen it anytime the national team plays, men's and women's. And to be perfectly honest with you, Max, I wasn't sure what kind of a crowd we would expect today on a Friday at 10 o'clock Central Time is when Jimmy Conrad and I took the stage to start to entertain everybody leading up to the watch party or to the draw itself. The place was packed, man. We had thousands of fans there. It was great. A lot of USA fans, but a lot of Mexico fans. We saw Ecuador fans. We saw Argentina fans who were very excited, by the way, because it looks like Argentina will be coming to Kansas City in that group as well. Now, we saw fans from all over the place. It was a great atmosphere, and everybody's fired up for it. So today was the first day I really felt like here in Kansas City, everybody's getting involved and starting to realize that this World Cup is upon us.
It is the Midwest, right? There's no other Midwest site that's going to be hosting games. So Kansas City's kind of there holding up the Midwestern flag. How many games are they going to have? And what do you kind of see with regards to what's coming their way?
Yeah, 6 games will be coming to Kansas City. Groups E, F, and J, if I remember correctly, are the three groups
nice.
that will end up playing matches in the group stage plays in Kansas City. Then we'll get around a 32 game and a quarterfinal. So yeah, big deal because Kansas City, you got to remember, as you mentioned, it's the only real team, unless you count the Texas cities, it's the only real city in the Midwest. But it's also, we're talking market number 33, Max, in terms of, television media market sizes. Every other site in the United States is a top 15 media market. It's little old Kansas City, but you know how big the heart is in this town. You've been here, you've seen it, and the passion's real. So they're very fun. It's going to be the biggest thing that's ever happened in Kansas City by a long shot.
Wait, let me hear this correctly. This is the biggest thing that's ever going to happen in Kansas City, these World Cup games.
Well, think about it this way, Max. This is the biggest event in the history of the world in general, right? I mean,
no question.
teams.
And I don't want to have a debate with people about this. This is not Olympics, World Series, Super Bowl. It can't touch this.
100%. There's never been a Super Bowl in Kansas City. They've had World Series, but that's not anywhere near on this level. I mean, the thing you'd have to go back to probably is when there was like the national convention in Kansas City back when they built the World War I Museum in the 1920s. That's the only time that there's been some kind of gathering like this. So this is not the type of town. The tourists that come to Kansas City are people that come from around the region, small towns in Oklahoma and Nebraska and Iowa to visit the big city of Kansas City. We don't get millions of international tourists like you do in LA or they do in New York City. So it's going to be a whole new ball of wax in Kansas City. And to be perfectly honest with you, the majority of people here don't really know what's in store. But I will tell you this, Max. You and I both get the chance to work with a lot of Spanish language broadcasters and producers, right, on MLS Season Pass. All the Argentinian guys I work with have been blowing my phone up asking if they can crash at my place because Argentina's coming to Kansas City, baby. Let's go.
We're going to find out the dates and all. They're going to tomorrow, I think, all the details. Casa Bukaty for all you friends down there. And by the way, we saw the Club World Cup, and I saw the River Plate fans. I mean, they were complaining because they had to put a second mortgage on their house, but they were up in Seattle, and the folks in Seattle said they were everywhere, and it was unbelievable. So very cool. Hey, really quick, Nate, how do you like this USA group? What do you see? Paraguay their first game, Australia, and then a team TBD from UEFA.
I'm going to say that fourth pot team could be the toughest one in the group, because could you see Turkey coming out of that group? I certainly could.
Turkey beat the U.S. already back in
Right.
May, June. So, and it was kind of a mismatch at the time, although I think it was a different U.S. team.
You're talking about guys like Yildiz and Arda Güler. That's the toughest team. If they make it through, that's the toughest team in the group for me. I love the Australia draw. I don't mind Paraguay. You mentioned that the United States did well against them the last time they squared off, albeit in a friendly. I don't think you could ask for much more as a U.S. men's national team than this draw. If you don't get through this group, I don't think you have any excuses to make. It's there to be had for the U.S. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but if they go out and take care of business, they should be on to the knockout rounds.
So I think you need 3 points at least to be a third place team and advance. So the U.S. have to find a way to manipulate this group. But I don't want to put Turkey ahead in there. If they qualify out of that European qualifier, which doesn't take place till March, so we're going to have to say those 4 countries for 3.5 months. If it's Turkey, the sports books, in my estimation, will put Turkey as the favorite to win the group. They have to, I would think.
I agree. And that's what's crazy about this. I looked at all those European qualifiers in pot 4, and I thought you're going to see teams like Italy, possibly Sweden, Poland.
I would have rather have Italy than the Turks, to be perfectly honest.
I think the Turks are the toughest one out of the whole group. I really do. We saw, not just because of what they did to the United States. Look at the roster. Look at the players they have. It's going to be tough.
Oh, good stuff. Nate, I appreciate you joining us, man. I can't wait to see what Kansas City has in store for our visitors. We know what it has to offer. Great barbecue. I mean, the barbecue places are going to be making a mint, I would imagine. They could triple the prices if they want.
They're going to have to be raising a lot of cattle between now and June, buddy, because we're going to run out of burn ends for everybody. But, hey, Max, you got a place on my couch if you want to come, I appreciate being your sexiest guest of the day, no matter how much insight you get from everyone else.
Question.
You got it, sir.
And if you want to see the U.S. play in one of those games down in beautiful Inglewood, home of SoFi Stadium, we got a couch for you here, too. Man.
Oh, let's go. I'm in.
Let's go. Nate Bukaty, you can hear his dulcet tones on Apple TV all season long as we're getting ready. This is the Soccer O.G. World Cup draw reaction. The guests are coming through, and we are thrilled about what we can provide with a lot of cool stuff happening. We have some great guests still coming. We're going to break things down. We have an eye on the U.S. We're going to talk about Mexico. So nuestros amigos ahí en México, vamos a hablar sobre tu grupo, ¿ok? Espera un poquito, porque vamos a hablar, porque México la verdad que tiene la cosa difícil, en mi opinión. Solamente una persona, el grupo con South Africa, Korea Republic, and one of those UEFA teams. The mystery UEFA teams. I understand that's a bit of a downer. And we'll ask Christian Roldan, who will be joining us, about having to wait for that team. That is another, in my estimation, not a benefit for the U.S., whereas all these other teams, when you have all 4 teams that you can dig into the preparation. Granted, you're preparing for that first game, and then see what happens there, but you've got to start to get the books. Christian Roldan, active member of the U.S. men's national team, now joins us. Christian, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. It means the world, and it's great to see your beautiful face, my friend. How do you, as a player, an active member of the U.S. men's national team, how do you absorb a draw situation like this? What does the day look like for you?
Yeah, look, I'm a father first, and so my priorities are wrangling the little one, but when and watching it on my phone. So overall, I didn't hear most of the World Cup draw, but I definitely saw the draws, and overall, it's something I look forward to. Right, it's something that we now have an image or a picture of what the World Cup might look like, and to be honest, we already kind of saw that image over the last couple of camps.
So you're doing one of these. You got the baby, and you got oh my God, good parenting 101. U.S. soccer's got to get a tip of the cap, man, because you faced Paraguay in October. You faced Australia in October. You faced Paraguay in November. And then Turkey is a team you played back in May, if that's the team that comes out. How do you view that, having some paperwork on a team that you played, but knowing full well that they have the same intel as you guys?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag because obviously we got the result in those games, especially obviously against Paraguay and Australia. Um, but things can change, right? Now there's a little bit of rivalry, right? We had a physical game against Australia. We had, a bit of a scrum against Paraguay late in the game, and so they're going to be seeking some revenge, and so it adds a little bit of that history to those two games, but nonetheless, tough games. There's no easy group. These two games are going to be tough, and you add that added layer that we've already played them. It's going to make it even harder.
You started both those games too, Christian, and I love what you said about the physical nature of Australia. That's something that I think benefits you guys because you know how they're going to approach you. Because it felt like in that game early on, you're seeing, okay, they're pushing our boundaries here. And now I feel like you get a chance to push back a little bit.
Absolutely. Like this is our time to kind of set the tone. And against Australia, I felt like they set the tone, and so now it's about us being ready for the first tackle, the first running behind, understanding what type of game it's probably going to be. We're prepared for that, and I think we're overall just excited. Look, we've seen these two teams, and we know what type of games these are going to be, and our team is going to be ready for that competition.
Christian, what's next for you? Because obviously now the next order of business, getting on that team. All indicators is coach loves you and you're doing a great job. So how do you prepare now that you're in off season? How do you prepare for what lies ahead so that you are still in those very good graces?
Yeah, well, focus, I think, really important this off season, to number one, get my body right, but also making sure that I'm sharp in preseason. Those things are going to matter come World Cup time. But I still need to showcase myself. I still need to prove myself. There's a lot of doubt in my mind, and that's what drives me. And so I'm excited for that opportunity to see if I can make that roster, if I can make the March roster first and foremost. But it starts with preseason, it starts with off season, getting the body right and making sure I'm sharp for those coming months.
Christian, when I see you play, what I think really is in your benefit, and I don't want you to think about it too much. You're the one guy I always hear when I'm the broadcast. I hear your voice, I hear you clapping, and that gives me it's a warm blanket to know and I want more players to sound it, but I hear your voice all the time.
Yeah, look, we have a group here in Seattle that we're very nice guys. Our locker room is unbelievable, and sometimes you got to get a little bit more out of guys. And being on the team for 11 years, next year is going to be my 12th. I've got to step up. I've got to be vocal. I got to lead the group, and being in that midfield position, whether it's with the national team or Seattle, that is a focal point. And so, really, really important to be able to communicate, organize a group. But overall, I'm glad you say that because I lose my voice a lot of the game, much like you, and it's exciting to be able to lead a group like that.
No sparkling water. When you just keep a nice lemon, something soothing. I would say tea, but I don't like tea. Hey, real quick, man. We appreciate your time. To me, this felt like your best year as a pro. And people think you get to 30. You're like, I saw things from you that you clicked to. What is the key to maybe reinventing yourself or finding that extra level? Were you able to do that here in 2025?
Yeah, I feel like last year was probably my best year. And the last 2 years I've settled into one position, whereas before I was kind of bouncing around right side, left side, center mid, attacking mid. And so it's hard to create chemistry with the guys around you. It's hard to focus on one thing. And so sometimes it can help you, sometimes it can hurt you. And at times, it was a little bit of both. And so now being able to focus in on, the number 6 position, the game slowing down, me being a little bit older, wiser, not running as much, and understanding what the team needs is something that I've definitely honed in on.
Brilliant. He's a nice guy off the field, but he is an SOB when he's on it. Christian Roldan, we look forward to seeing you and how we get close to the World Cup. Appreciate you making some time for us.
Yeah, absolutely, Max. Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Enjoy the
it.
little one. You can rewatch the live. Mauricio Pedrosa. Mauricio Pedrosa. Can you hear me okay, Mo?
I can hear you well. I can hear you well, my friend. How are you?
Oh, Mauricio Pedrosa, a good friend of mine also for ESPN Deportes. At long last, all this USA talk is boring me, man. Let's talk Mexico. You
All
guys,
right.
it's a little tricky there. You got one of those UEFA playoff teams,
Yeah.
and then you got South Africa, which is the opener at Estadio Azteca, the World Cup
Yeah.
opener, and then Korea, who sorted
Mhm.
you out back in 2018. Remember that one? Gave you a
That's
solid
right.
when they beat Germany.
That's right. This is going to be the third time Mexico will face South Korea in the World Cup. We beat them in '98. Did the same in 2018. This time in home soil. Listen, I heard what you said about the draw for Mexico. I disagree. I think Mexican fans should be celebrating right now. They should be opening a six-pack of cerveza. They should be opening their oldest, most treasured bottle of tequila, because this is probably best case scenario for the Mexican national team. And that European team will come out of either Czechia, Ireland, Denmark, or Northern Macedonia.
Yes.
We ain't afraid of any of them four. I think Mexico will win the group. And you know this very well, and I mean this
Cuidado,
seriously.
cuidado.
I mean this seriously. You know this very well. When Mexico plays at Estadio Azteca, it's a different vibe. It's something else. When Mexico plays in Guadalajara, something else. It's not the same as playing in neutral sites. So I think Javier Aguirre, the players, the staff, even the executives and the fans should be very happy that the draw smiled at Mexico.
That's very. By the way, I do feel that Mexico will have more of a home field advantage for that. As Azteca is known, where in comparison to the U.S. certainly the U.S. going to SoFi and to Lumen Field for these group stages in Seattle. I should have asked that to Christian Roldan as one of his games in his hometown, but I forgot. Water under the bridge. That Mexico, I think, is going to enjoy that a little bit more. But then we'll see what happens when we get to el cuatro en el quinto partido. Sorry to say that.
Are you gonna come up with another song for that?
Yeah. By the way, do you have the oldest treasured bottle of tequila there in the Pedrosa household that
I do.
for special occasions?
I do have one very, very special bottle of tequila that was gifted to me by a friend 12 years ago, but I'm not gonna open that just because of the draw. If Mexico makes it to the sexto partido, that's now where we're gonna get sexto partido, the sixth game, quarterfinals. Then I'll probably open that very special bottle of tequila. It's gonna be tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think the team is very well equipped to win the group, but after that, anything can happen. They would face a third seeded team from four different groups, so it's pointless at this point to speculate
I hate that part.
who will be the rival. But I think Mexico is going to be good enough to win their group. But from then on, Max, it can be it's up in the air. It's not going to be easy.
I'm kind of convinced here, Mauricio. And look, South Africa's improving, but I think they're going to be better in like 4 years, and they're going to head into the Lions' Den of the Azteca for that opener. So that's a really tough ask for them. Korea, to me, I live in a Korean household. My wife, my mother-in-law, and all. So I watch them pretty closely. And Son Heung-min, obviously LFC. I think they're kind of in between places that I think maybe they're a little.
Yeah, so let's not forget this. They just played a few months back, and it was a draw, 2-2. The moment Heung-min Son entered the game in the second half, he destroyed Mexico, scored twice. Mexico was leading. In the end, it was a 2-2 draw. But the moment Heung-min Son, and you see him now every other weekend at LAFC, he's a different type. He's a different class of player, right? Mexico, we don't have a player of that quality, not even close. But I think in terms of what Javier Aguirre will create, he knows one of his star players used to play for Javier Aguirre at Mallorca, Kang In Lee, now playing at PSG. I feel the fact that Mexico already faced this version of South Korea playing at Estadio Azteca. it will give Mexico an advantage. And South Africa, it's a revenge game, Max, for Mexico. They
Yeah.
played the opening match in South Africa 2010, and Mexico led that game with a goal from Rafa Marquez, but then the Bafana Bafana tied the game, and it was like a national holiday after that. So it will be a revenge game for the Mexican national team to face South Africa at Estadio Azteca June 11th.
Revenge is always a nice dish to serve. And the European team, I like the group. I mean, Denmark's probably the favorite, but I watched Denmark lose to Scotland and leave goals, and it doesn't feel like a top Danish team. Their attacking options aren't great. Christian Eriksen is definitely at the back end of his career, and they still lean into him. Could be Ireland, who would be a great story, but I don't think playing Mexico they would come close really. And Czechia and North Macedonia. If I had to list the European teams in order of in the 16 teams in those qualifiers, the USA got the hardest one. Turkey is a top 10,
Agreed.
top 12 team. After that, probably Italy because of that, and then the Welsh, the Swedes, and maybe Poland. And that's kind of on. I mean, Italy more just on history. They're not the strongest team, but Turkey clear in a way the best. After hearing you, I was going to laugh because you see UEFA and I'm like, oh, that's going to be tough. But as I see these four teams, I would have to say that maybe that Mexico should have enough points to win the group. But if you win the groups, you avoid all that mumbo jumbo third place stuff.
And don't forget, because the game against South Korea will be played in Guadalajara. The game against that European team will be played at Estadio Azteca. And you know everything about Estadio Azteca's altitude when it gets hot in Mexico City in the summer. You combine that with the altitude. It's never easy for those European countries to come and play in Mexico City. So that's another reason why I see Javier Aguirre's team winning their group.
Very good. Mauricio Pedrosa joining us from ESPN Deportes. He has a very busy day working in the studio. Nice enough to join us to give Mexico and their fans a lot of hope. Great to see you, my friend. Appreciate you joining us.
Anytime, Max. See you later.
All right. See you, Mauricio Pedrosa. I think we should give... I should have brought a Canadian guest. We're doing this on the fly, but, you know, we want to give them their due diligence. I saw Jesse Marsh there talking about Canada and what lies ahead for them. Let's take a quick look. I'm pulling that here. Canada will have a UEFA team just like the other. I mean, all these CONCACAF teams in Pot A were going to get a UEFA team because you needed a European team in Group A. So that's the group with Italy, Northern Ireland, Wales, and Bosnia and Herzegovina, which I can't unhear now after Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky's a great one, but he was good humored about it. So I like the Welsh. I don't think Italy's going to get through. I think Wales is a better team across the board, better than Italy. I know people will go, what? Wales are in the last World Cup. They got to the Euros, or maybe they like 6-8 years ago, they made that run to the semifinals or the quarterfinals? Man, I can't remember. And even past Gareth Bale, they have produced a lot of good players. I think Wales comes out of that and they become a regular at the World Cup. That's just the program they're building. It used to be a rugby country. It is now a soccer country, and that is not going to change, and they develop great athletes. So Canada gets them, Qatar, and Switzerland. So that's a tricky one. The Swiss are really good. The Swiss are just really good. But there's the Group D with the United States in there with Paraguay, Australia, and it will be either Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, and Kosovo. It's a new day with regards to the World Cup. With 48 teams, it's really difficult to put your finger on what to expect with what is expected from these teams. And what do we get now that we have an extra round of knockouts, which is insane because the goal is always the round of six, the quarterfinals, right? For the U.S., that's the ultimate goal. We're not going to talk about winning the World Cup. Maybe it happens. It's not going to happen now. I hope I have famous last words to eat. But I also tell you, dreams are made in the World Cup based on your path. If the U.S. gets something done in the group and all of a sudden they see whoever that team is, it's about matchups. It's about timing. And we've seen teams benefit time and time again with seizing what is in front of them. So it may not even be up to the U.S. They could win their group and all of a sudden they're in a match with a Brazil or a Germany at the wrong time and it's over. But now the U.S. has to get through another game, and that is going to be difficult. Round of 32, honestly, is the cutoff line for your target. Just get out of your group, but then you got to win that game. And then you wait and see. So I can't sit here and tell you how far they can go. We just don't know. And as we heard Mauricio Pedrosa, you look at all the makeups of these teams. Where are they going to fall? Who is going to make it, and who are you going to face moving forward? So the USA, I love what they're doing with Mauricio Pochettino. I wish they had more games because it feels like from summer on, they have been on the right trajectory. And there's a really good culture developed there where everyone's trying to put their said no one's guaranteed. So to see what this roster makeup, and hopefully Christian Roldan's on there. I think he'll be on there. We'll see. A man who knows all about waiting to get his name called to see Brad Guzan. Brad, you were down at the Atlanta watch party. How was it, man? What's the excitement level like?
Yeah, what's happening, Max? It's huge, man. It's huge. It's watch party was fantastic. A little cold. The rain held off, but the excitement's building. Obviously, Atlanta being able to host 8 games during this World Cup, the excitement it's starting to get real, and we know after today now it's only going to continue to grow.
8 games. Of course, Brad Guzan wrapping up his career with Atlanta United. The fact that they get 8 games tells me that FIFA are really locked into Atlanta. I go to Atlanta. I went to Florida State University. Atlanta was a long time ago. Sleepy town, right? Sleepy town. And then they get the Olympics, and then they get all this, and now Atlanta is a mega city where people are moving to by the droves. I'm trying to get my wife, if we ever move out of LA, I'm trying to do a little tour of Atlanta because maybe it'd be a good landing spot. How do you feel? I mean, does it feel like FIFA's like they really have their eyes set on Atlanta as a city that could really put their best foot forward here?
Well, I think certainly FIFA sees that, right? But I think it starts internally, right? It starts with the people here within the city, and from everyone from the mayor, from sporting officials to individuals like Mr. Arthur Blank and what he has done for the game of soccer, not only in Atlanta but throughout this country. We know that U.S. Soccer has now relocated here. We know, and we've all seen the support that Atlanta United gets. But on top of that, the announcement of the NWSL team, coming in a few years. The excitement around the sport of soccer here in Atlanta is massive, and it's only going to continue to grow. And when you talk about the city of Atlanta, how great it is as a city, it is just that. You have people that want to come here, that want to stay here, and because of that, you have a mix of cultures that again are ready for this tournament. They're ready to be able to support their country and their national team, and that part is going to be pretty awesome to see.
All right, let's go back to not the way back time machine, but a little bit back when you're playing days. How do you, as a guy in the U.S. men's national team setup, how do these guys absorb a day like this? I mean, it's obviously you're excited, but you still have to make the team. How do you manage all those things?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I remember being back in England, and you're watching these draws, and you're watching to see where you're going to fall, which group you're going to be a part of, ultimately what players you're going to be playing against, and the teams, and all the things, right? And today now it starts to become real. We know that the tournament is next summer, but today is the day when we're going to be playing this team, and the Paraguay game is going to be very feisty to say the least, especially after how the friendly finished last month. And so these types of things, they start to build up that anticipation. At the watch party here in Atlanta, we had Walker Zimmerman on stage with us for a bit, and we were able to chat with him, and I was stood with him, and I know the player group chat is already they're talking amongst each other, and that's what it is. Guys start talking in and amongst the player group chat to say, okay, we got this team, we got that team, okay, let's go, and we're getting excited, and that's what you want as a player, because like I said, today's the day that it really becomes a real thing, a tangible thing that you say, right, it's within touching distance, and we're not far away with not many games in between now and the announcement of the roster selection.
I got to get on one of those player text threads. Got to hear how you guys air the dirty laundry.
Absolutely.
By the way, I was like looking at that. You preference playing Paraguay and Australia. When I saw those happen, I'm like, great. The USA had this prep, and they scheduled those teams. I imagine that's best laid plans. That, and they beat Paraguay and they beat Australia. And then I started thinking about it. I go, all right, the ball's in their court too now because they lost. I go, all right, remember, and they get the rah-rah. And while the USA has tape on these teams, so do those. How do you manage a situation like that, knowing it kind of breaks both ways?
Yeah, listen, and the players will know that, the coaching staff will know that, and on both sides, everybody will know. Hey, we've got something to play for. We've gone up against this team. We've had success, but it's a whole nother beast when you get into a World Cup situation. And they'll be thinking, hey, we want some revenge, and so the preparation is starting immediately on all sides. All teams, technical staff are all preparing game plans and having discussions as we speak right now. Um, no stone will go unturned in terms of preparing the team for these games. What I will say is the games will be magnified times 10, times 20, times 100 because it is the World Cup. And because of that, you're able to take a little bit from those friendlies, a little bit from those games and say, okay, this is, where we were successful. This is where we need, we struggled a bit. We need to be better in these areas of the field. But with all that being said, listen, it's going to be a fight, and it's going to be, two teams that are going up representing their countries in a World Cup. And listen, there's going to be guys that this will be their one and only World Cup, and they are going to make sure they're going to give everything for their countries. And so when you have that, it creates excitement for us as the viewer.
That's a great answer. How we feel about, we've seen the U.S. team improving. You've seen the draw. Where do we level your anticipation? I don't want to get in the knockouts because we just don't know about the U.S. being able to get out of this Group D.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the first and foremost, right, when you're watching this draw and you're watching these teams get selected, you're thinking, okay, are we going to be in the so-called group of death? Okay, probably not. And then you start to look at the teams and you say, okay, we've had some past experiences with these teams, and we know what we're in for. But then going into it, you're saying, right, we're on home soil. We have an entire country behind us, and we know that we're a good team. On our day, we are a very good team that if they perform the way that we saw them perform against Paraguay, against Uruguay, and do that for 90-plus minutes, listen, we can go out there and compete with the best of them. And as you were saying, earlier you were talking about, it's all about draw. It's all about timing. It's all about matchups. And that's exactly what it is. Depending how the tournament unfolds, all of a sudden the U.S. is on this wave of confidence going in, hopefully getting out of the group, going into the knockout rounds and saying, right, come on now, we know we have an entire country behind us and we fancy ourselves against anyone. So let's go do it. And I think if you have that mentality, then listen, the sky's the limit.
Let's go do it. Print the shirts from Brad Guzan's lips. Brad, really appreciate you joining us and providing our know-how for our audience. You enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll take care of the U.S. They're going to be out here on the West Coast, but we'll keep them in good hands. Hopefully they get a game on the East Coast, maybe even in Atlanta in the knockouts.
I love it. Take care, guys.
All right, Brad Guzan joining us here on the Soccer O.G. as we break down Group D. I mean, we're trying to look at it in every different way as we see the group. And I just, you take a moment and just look. And we talk about groups endlessly. And we're going to be talking about this endlessly for 6-7 months. And we're going to talk about that game against Paraguay, which is going to be June the 12th in Los Angeles. We're going to know everything if you're a soccer fan. And then if you're new, you're going to hear a lot about Paraguay. We're going to know about their entire roster. A lot of MLS players, past and present, on that Paraguay team. Miguel Almiron, I should have asked. Man, I'm losing it. I should have asked Brad. It's a former teammate of his. Miguel Almiron's a big player on that Paraguay team. There's like 2 or 3 MLS players. It's a good team. It's not a great South American team. You obviously have Brazil, Argentina. I should say Argentina, Brazil. And then Uruguay, Colombia. And then a bit of a drop-off to Paraguay and Ecuador. But we're going to talk about these games a lot, and it's a beautiful thing. You see that group. I mean, this is why I got in the business. I see that I want to embrace it. And we have 6 months to talk about it. The only thing I don't like is that last line. European player. What does that mean? What is it? Okay, I know what it means, but it's not. That's the only part that doesn't make it perfect. But we'll know about it in March. It's going to be a tough one. It's probably going to be Turkey. And again, my belief, Turkey is the strongest team of those European. You want to get a really strong team. You don't want cupcakes, if there was any. But if you get these good teams in your group, you don't have to face them. And then you want to get teams out of your path. So I still think this is a challenging group for the U.S. There's not going to be a game where they can say, all right, we can maybe play an alternate team and get a point. There's none of that here. These games are all games that they could lose. They're all games they could win. That's the good side. Do we have our final guest there, Jeff? We're working. We're almost going to do it. I can't believe this has been an hour. It felt unrealistically 15 minutes as we rip through here on a World Cup draw selection show. Appreciate the support. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Want to shout out Jeff Anderson, who's been great helping put all this together with all this great graphics. I mean, it is so much work, and he's doing it. Something we believe in, something we want to get involved with the World Cup. And yeah, we are here. We're open for business. Also, check out the Twitch channel, the Soccer O.G. We're trying to build the channel there as well. And again, this is me and our staff. But what we want to do here is hear from everyone. We want to have a show where we talk to current athletes. We did that. Former U.S. national team players, players who are fans, celebrities who come in and talk about it, athletes that are interested. And we hear a ton of opinions. It's not just mine. I'll give you mine, but we'll give you stuff that you can balance it off. So 48-team World Cup has been locked in. There it is, USA, Paraguay in Los Angeles, June the 12th. June the 19th, they will face Australia in Seattle. June 25th, Inglewood. I'm an Angelino. I love Los Angeles. SoFi Stadium is amazing. But I'm telling you, man, if there's a city you want to go see a game in, Seattle is it. Jaime Camille, is he there? Can we bring Jaime in, who was there at the ceremony at the Kennedy Center? There he is. All right, Jaime, we'll get you here in a moment. We can hear him okay. Jaime is going to bring, he's the anchor leg here. He's got the mystery. We can't see your face. It's just like you can't. Hey, man, how was it there? You were at the... Okay. We can't hear you yet, Jaime, but we'll bring in Jaime. We appreciate the patience there and joining us on the program. Jaime, who's a super fan for LAFC as well, and been involved with soccer. He loves the sport. We'll ask him about a bunch of things. We'll talk a little about the USA. We can also talk about Mexico. Mauricio Pedrosa, who was also on there with regards to feeling that Mexico has a really good chance of making it through this World Cup and potentially winning that group. I don't know if the USA wins their group. It depends on that European qualifier. Again, if Turkey makes it, hard to deny them. I feel Turkey's a team that could make a deep run just on the outskirts of those top 10 favorites that lie there with regards to the teams that can actually win it. USA is not one of them. Turkey is a lot closer to that. Those two teams that the U.S. played in May, Turkey and Switzerland, popping in there. All right, we're going to wrap it up again. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Much more great programming coming your way. There he is, Jaime Camille. Jaime, I saw you in the ballroom. You're sitting there. The guy, Danny Ramirez, comes over and he has a chit chat. You were right in the epicenter.
What am I doing there next to Biagio? I don't understand. I still cannot wrap my head around it, but I was there, and it was very exciting.
Hey, did you get starstruck? Who was the one person you saw that you go, oh my God, look who it is? It's from... I saw Roberto Carlos. I don't get starstruck, but you. And I saw Roberto Carlos. I would lose it.
Inter is here. There's so many. Baggio, Pepe. I mean, it's crazy, man. This is the creme de la creme, football royalty. Being here is just a gift, and experiencing this with my son. I brought my 11-year-old son, and it's just incredible, man. I don't know. Right here, this is the FIFA logo. We are still here. This is the red carpet. All the trophy away already because I was to steal. And yeah, Secret Service is here. It's a whole everybody's here. It's a party.
But that's an interesting point because this is Washington, D.C. The president's there, so you get the Secret Service. So you probably have to go through. How many layers of security do you have to go to?
It wasn't that bad, honestly. It wasn't that bad. Just at the hotels, they make sure you don't bring like selfie sticks and stuff like that because we know how deadly selfie sticks can be. And once you enter the venue, Secret Service armor the venue at least 1 hour before the event starts. No people walking in, no people walking out to safeguard the president. But other than that, it was amazing. Prime Minister of Canada was here. My president, Claudia Sheinbaum, Donald Trump was here. It was very exciting. A bunch of VIPs. And this is a very important event, as you very well know, Max. It paints the picture, and it paves the path, the real path of the nations and the countries that might have a chance at winning the World Cup.
We had Mauricio Pedrosa of ESPN there, and he feels like Mexico can win their group. And they open up against South Africa. You got the Korean Republic and a European team, TBD. How do we feel about Mexico, Jaime? I know the Mexican public push them to the top, but how realistically?
I feel strong, man. I feel strong. I'd be worried. I don't know. Maybe South Africa. I mean, I'm sorry. Korean Republic. We love Sonny. Sonny, we love you.
You're gonna be conflicted.
It'll conflict here because last World Cup, thanks to Son, Mexico advanced. If you remember, Sonny scoring, and then automatically Mexico was able to go to the next phase. But now I don't know if we're gonna love Sonny that much.
Jaime, you are the man. It means the world for you to join us from the center of the universe right now in Washington, D.C., the Kennedy Center. Have a great trip back and enjoy the World Cup, my friend.
You too, Maxi. Love you, brother. Thank you very much for having me.
Mucho amor. What a class act. Jaime Camil joining us here. We did it. We did it. We put a bow because we appreciate the time. The World Cup draw, it happens once every 4 years. At least for now. It might be every 2 years in the future. I know I said that. I don't want to put that out there. But we'll put a bow on it. The Soccer OG. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Enjoy talking about the World Cup. You have 6 months to preview what comes June the 12th for USA Paraguay or whoever you follow. And we'll see how it all unfolds. Until we meet again, this is Max Bretos. See you soon.